Hi there, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 356. I am Lisa, also known as FiberTrek, and today is Sunday, January 17th. I am coming to you today from my dining room. I have recorded in here before. Usually I'm situated a little differently, so you're getting a different angle today, but it seemed that the light was best here. I do have an additional light over to my right today, which is new. I'm not sure how that will work or if it's even going to be helpful, but it's there. So hopefully that'll help with any extra shadows. I will say the only thing about recording in this room is it tends to be a tiny bit echoey because this is a big vaulted ceiling. So I apologize if that's distracting. If you hear any extraneous noise, it may be my husband working down in the basement, but hopefully that won't be too much of a distraction to either of us. So I have my tea today. This is some caramel snickerdoodle dessert tea, I believe. Yes, that was what I chose from the Plum Deluxe teas that I have in my tea stash, and it's quite tasty and warm. I'm chilly today. What I'm wearing is my Antler cardigan, which you've seen a million times if you've watched the podcast before. It's well loved and well worn and needs a deep pilling, but who cares about that, right? It's keeping me warm today, and I threw on my Nurmilintu Shawlette that I knit out of some hand spun. This was a loop bullseye bump, and I spun it into a gradient and knit this up. So I just added that for a little bit of color so I didn't look super drab, because this sweater blends in with my hair really well at this point in life. Anyway, let's go through what I'm going to talk to you about today, shall we? My computer's sitting over here to the right, that's why I'm looking over here. Basically, I've got some finished objects, I've got some works in progress, including a couple of new cast-ons. Yay! You can see my loom sitting here too. I warped my loom yesterday, so I've got a fun new project on there I'm going to show you. I do have the 20 and 20 prize winners to announce, so that's exciting. And then I've got a couple of new things that I'm going to talk to you about. I'm going to change things up a little bit, and I'm going to put 10% at the very end of the episode today. I may do that from now on, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I do have some shop news, not a ton, but a little bit, including the monthly makes prize winners from last year as well. And then I will end with 10%. I think I'm going to make my 10%, instead of being just horribly random things, I'd like to have it be things that are my favorite things for the week or for the period since my last video, things that are making me happy. And I feel like that's a really good way to end the video. So that's what we're going to try doing. Okay, so let's get started with the finished objects. And the first finished object I have for you is a pair of socks. I did not bring sock blockers out, so you get to see them like this, but they are my Sugarplummed Socks, completely finished. These were knit out of my Bounce base, and this was the Sugarplummed colorway that I had out last year, last year for the holidays. So they're finished. Plain vanilla sock. I did an afterthought heel. I used a Merlot mini for the heel and the toes. The Merlot is a little lighter than the stripe in the sock, but it went together well enough, so I wasn't too worried. So yeah, they turned out really well. They're more of a normal sock length for me. I think the cuff ended up being maybe 6.5 inches. So it's not one of my shorter pairs of socks that I've been making lately. I'm just going to put these away, and they're going to be nice and new and fresh for me next December, next holiday season. It'll be nice to start the holidays out with a nice new pair of socks. So not much else to tell you about those. I do have a project page for these on Ravelry if you want to look at that. I will also try to put the basic information in the show notes. That'll be in the drop down menu in the description box. I always forget to mention that I do put show notes down there. I try to put them as complete as possible with links to project pages and pattern pages. If I can use non-Ravelry links, I will, but that's not always possible. So you can just look for the asterisk, and that will tell you that it is taking you to a Ravelry page in case that is problematic for you. You can also stay connected to me and other podcast members by commenting on the video. Here, there's a Ravelry group for 90% knitting on Ravelry. I know, again, not accessible to everyone, but it's there. We have an Instagram feed and a Facebook page. So all those things under FiberTrek Dye Works, not under 90% knitting. So anyway, there's links to all that stuff also in the description box. I just thought I would mention it because I never remember to mention it at the top of the episode. Sometimes I probably don't even mention it at the end of the episode. So, okay, so again, socks, finished object. Yay! My next finished object is something that you never even saw in progress, and that is a hat that I made out of just a whole bunch of scraps, marled scraps. And what I ended up doing, I was holding them two together, so it's two strands of fingering weight yarn held together, so it's basically a DK weight hat. And I used up all the rest of my leftovers that I had from the indie dyed Advent yarn swap that I did. All of them are gone. I feel so good about having been able to use up every last bit of that yarn from that collection. So if you remember, if you followed along, I made socks with them. I made scrappy stripy socks with those, and then I crocheted all of the rest of them except for little bits into hexagons, which I'm going to show you that project in a little bit. And then I just had little bits left that weren't enough to make a hexi, and I used those for the hat. And by the time I got up here, I was needing to find some other leftovers to finish the hat off with. But quite honestly, it's mostly those indie swap yarns. So I'm really happy with it. It's probably just going to be a charity hat. I'll put it in my giveaway pile unless somebody ends up needing a hat. But yeah, I made this, the impetus for making this was the January interception challenge for the Down Cellar Studio Pigskin Party. It's for making a stash, I think a stash leftovers hat is maybe how it was termed. I don't remember, but this qualified, so this was my entry into the interception. So those are my two finished objects this week. So let's move along. I will say though, before I move along, now that I've marled that hat, I kind of want to marl all the things. I did make a pair of marled socks last year, which you might remember, doing the same thing, you know, holding two strands of fingering weight together. I love those socks. I want to make more of those socks, shortish socks. I still can't get the idea out of my head about doing an entire sweater out of leftovers, just marling leftovers, because I've got so many fingering weight leftovers of different sizes. I just think it would be so much fun. So who knows? I might do that at some point, but not now. But I want to. I want to really bad. Okay, so let's go on to whips. This one is the Hexi project, which is the Busy Bee throw by Shaina Scott, and you've seen the little hexis already, which is what I used that indie dyer swap yarn for during the Advent season. And so now I have started putting the border on all of them. And for the border, oh, here's my crochet hook. I'm using this skein, which is From Me to Yarn, which was also yarn that I got during the holiday season, the Advent season, from Tomboy Femme Bags. She did a package that included a bag that she made and yarn from this yarn dyer. Excuse me, let me take a sip here. I'm getting froggy. And so since I got this also as sort of an Adventish time of year kind of yarn, I decided to use this as the border for all of these little hexis. So it's a little jarring because it is such a, I mean, it's bright, it's bold, it's definitely a bold color compared to some of the hexis, but I think it's going to look really cool when it's all done. So I don't know how many of these, I think I have maybe 10 of them with borders. I will say putting the borders on isn't nearly as much fun as crocheting the original hexis, so I'm not quite doing it at the pace that I was doing the hexis, but they will get done. I will continue to work on it, but for right now, it's sitting in the bedroom, and I work on one or two here and there. It's often what I do right before bed. If I'm tired but not quite ready to go to bed, I'll do one or two of those, and then I'm ready to go to sleep. So that's gotten a little bit of love. Hopefully there will be more to show you next time. I did do 2 new cast-ons, so let's see. All right, everything's on the table over to the side of me. It's kind of awkward. I did cast on a new pair of socks. This pair is not for me, though. This is for Bill. I have not knit him socks in a while, so I brought out, I want to say maybe 8 skeins of yarn the other day, and I sat them out here on the island in the kitchen, and I said, okay, pick your next pair of socks. So he narrowed it down to 4 skeins out of I guess it was 7, because he had 3 that he didn't really care for, and he said out of the other 4, he's like, whichever one of those you want to do. So I picked this skein, which is some West Yorkshire spinners from their Birds colorway. It's their 4-ply, and this is the Mallard colorway, which on the label it is color number 862, and I'm sure I got this from the Woolly Thistle, because that's usually where I get my West Yorkshire spinners yarn. And so it is begun, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do contrast for the heels and toes or not. If I do contrast, it'll be gray, because I don't have any of these other colors that match really well. And there is some gray in there, like in here, there's gray. So I may do gray heel flap and toe, just to make sure I have enough yarn, because Bill really likes his socks to be long. And so I'm going to finish this, I think it's the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, 5th. I'm on the 5th stripe repeat, so I think I'm going to finish the 5th stripe repeat and then go into the heel. I'll measure it before I do that, just to see how much yarn I've used, and if I think I'm going to run short, I will do contrasting for the heels and the toes, just because I don't want to run out. So I'm just doing a 2x2 ribbed sock. He also likes his socks to have ribbed cuffs, so 2x2 rib. I'm doing it on 64 stitches on US 1 needles. I'll do a heel flap and gusset, and it'll just be a normal sock. So this is basically my sit here at the table and knit on project, which is much further along than I was actually thinking it would be at this point, but that's okay. I like having a sock on the go for that reason. So that was one cast on. The other cast on, though, I have to say, this is the one that has really taken up most of my time and attention since I cast it on. And I'm not sure, I don't remember which day I cast it on. It was earlier this week. And it is the Dipip Cow. I think that's probably how it's pronounced. It's P-I-J-P, which I think is Dutch for the word pipe. The pipe. So it's a cowl. This picture is terrible because our printer was running out of colored ink, but that's part of the cowl. It's not actually pink like that in the real picture online, but it's long. It's one of those cowls that's fingering weight, and well, it's actually not fingering weight, it's DK weight, but it's very long, so it squishes down when it's on. And I am doing another marling project for this. I decided this would be an excellent project to use my holiday countdown minis that I dyed, so the Holiday Pops colors, because this year's they alternated between a semitonal and then a speckled color, and each speckle went with the color before and after it. So what I'm doing here, I'll show you. This is what I've got so far. I started at the end at day 24, and I used the first bit of day 1 because the colors were designed to go the whole way through, and then day 24 would also match day 1 or coordinate with day 1. So I used half of day 1, which is that purple, and then the whole mini of day 24. And then when I was done with day 1, I went on to day 23, which is the yellow. So they're staggering on top of each other, if that makes sense. Hopefully you get the idea of what I'm doing. Anyway, So this is a bottom-up cowl, and it starts with a ribbed band, and then it goes into this sort of feather and fan lace bit, which then has this other, I want to say it's sort of almost a basket weave sort of texture, but it's just right here. And then there's another ribbed band, and then you've got this pretty little lace section here, and then another ribbed band, and then there's this eyelet section. Another ribbed band, and now this repeats this feather and fan and texture section here. And then there'll be another ribbed band and then another repeat of this, followed by the final ribbed band. I am pretty much following the pattern. The only thing I've modified so far is I've made each of these ribbed bands one extra rib long, and yeah, each one of these has been just one more garter ridge. The only other modification I did was in this section with these eyelets. They were supposed to sort of stack. This one went here, and then the next one went here, and then this third one was actually supposed to be on top of the first one, and I put it in between the other two, just because I wanted to. No other good reason. So that's the story with that. Otherwise, it's just so much fun. It's a written and charted pattern. Oh, the pattern is by Martha Wissing Designs. I don't know if you can see that or not. Martha Wissing Designs. So I am right now through, I know I have 6 more minis downstairs that I have not wound into balls, and then I have 3 more in here that I haven't started using. So I'm beyond halfway. I am 12, 13, 14, 15. 15? Yes. 15 minis in to this project. So I'm enjoying it. Like I said, it's sort of, it became an addiction. I just wanted to do nothing but work on this. I needed to step back a little because I have other things I need to do. So, it does have a stitch marker on it from Adorn It, from their Pigskin Party exclusive sets. And then, okay, I can't get the pattern back in the bag. I'm using kind of a small bag, but the reason I'm using it is because it's also a Pigskin Party exclusive bag from Prairie Bag Works. So I get extra points in the Pigskin Party. I'm trying to be a good participant in this for my team, the Pajama Llamas. So anyway, there is that project. So those are all of the projects that I have knit on or crocheted on this week since I talked to you last. The only other thing I've got is what's on my loom. And I just started this yesterday, and it has sort of taken over that addiction factor because now all I want to do is work on this. I was actually thinking yesterday, instead of warping this, I was going to finally assemble my 24-inch loom because I still haven't done that yet. It's been almost a year since I've had both it and the stand. It's getting a little ridiculous, but anyway. So I went in, you know, the other room that has all this stuff, and I was going through a basket that was sitting there, and I realized I had a couple of sets of yarn that I had purchased specifically for weaving projects. Now, let me interject here. A lot of people, including myself, decide to get into weaving because we have huge stashes and we think, what better way to maybe use stash more quickly than by weaving it? And yes, that is a way you can use up your stash. However, it doesn't always work. You start buying yarn specifically because you want to weave that yarn. It happens. I remember I was at a show one time vending, and there was a weaving guild there, and I was talking to the one woman from the weaving guild, and this was before I had a loom and was weaving at all. And I said to her, I said, oh yeah, I was thinking I might like to get a loom because I've got so much stash. I figured that would be a really good way to use it. She said, no. She said, don't start weaving because you want to use stash. Weave because you want to weave. She said, you can use your stash, but like weaving's totally separate, and like wanting to use your stash is not a great reason to get a loom because you probably won't stick with it. She said, and you'll just end up buying more yarn to weave with. And she was right. She was totally right. I digress. Anyway, I bought this particular set of yarn, which I'll show you. Here's one of the skeins, and here's the other color. These are both fully spun yarn, the yarn dyer called Fully Spun. She does those really cool marled yarns, but she also does variegated and tonals. So this one was, they're both her Postscript DK base. I don't have the tags here with me, sorry. This one I know is called Halloween Noodle Soup, and I did buy this last fall with the idea of doing this project around Halloween, and I just never got to it. I don't remember what the name of this purple is. I'll have to put it in the show notes. But I really like the two together, and I thought this would be a really good color combination to use for a clasped weft project. So C-L-A-S-P-E-D, clasped weft, W-E-F-T. I've never done a clasped weft project before, and I decided to do, there's a video on YouTube by Kelly Casanova. You've heard me mention her before. She's got all kinds of really good weaving videos. And I'm also a member of her online school, but this one was not in the online school. This was just on her regular YouTube channel that shows you the technique. And it's really, really very simple. It looks so much more complicated than it is. But here's what it looks like. Isn't that neat? Oh my gosh. It looks even cooler on the camera. So, as you can see, so in case you're not too understanding of weaving, the strands that run this way lengthwise from front to back, those are your warp threads, and I'm using some West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply in black. So this is a fingering weight warp because I didn't want the fingering weight to be as evident as, I didn't want it to compete with the weft as much, so I used a lighter weight, which you can use a lighter weight warp for any reason, it doesn't matter, but that's what I chose to do rather than having a balanced weave if you're using the same weight for both warp and weft. So those are your warp threads. So then the weft threads are what's running back and forth, hence the clasped weft. Because basically, I'm not going to explain the whole technique, but you're working with these two different colors from both ends, and they are meeting in the middle. You're basically pulling them so they're holding hands in the middle. So in the middle, they're kind of like this. They're clasped. And it creates this effect. And you can do this in a patterned way, like a regular pattern. I'm just doing it very randomly because of course I am, because this is what I like to do. So it's just so much fun. And I think doing it the first time, just allowing myself to play with it and do this random patterning will make it much easier if later on down the line I decide I would like to do another one that has a more regular pattern to it. So this has been a lot of fun. I'm probably at least halfway through my warp at this point, so I would imagine by the next time I record this will be a finished project. I will probably, I'm not sure if it's going to be just a scarf or if I'll turn it into one of my woven fringy cowls. I've already told Emma that if she wants it, it's hers because she is totally okay with Halloween colors all year long. So I'll have to see. I will have to see if she would prefer a scarf or a cowl, and then that's what I will make it into. So I'm enjoying it. Fun technique. I love learning new things, so I'm glad I'm trying that out now. Okay, so that brings me to the end of all of the projects that I have worked on. We're going to move on to 20 and 20 because I do have the 20 and 20 challenge winners to announce now. Let me preface this by saying that the way I set the program up last year left it open to be sort of a find your own adventure or follow your own adventure kind of setup, which was great because that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be whatever you wanted it to be to help you be motivated to get things done last year. It did make it a little more complicated in picking or doing the random number generator for the winners of the year-long prizes. So I do have the last quarter's chatter winner to announce. That's easy. I have the last quarter's Instagram tag winner to announce, which I'm going to announce here, but I'll also put it on Instagram in case that person doesn't hear it here, although I'm going to guess that she will hear it here too, because I know she watches the podcast. But the ones for the year long, I was doing one prize winner for each of the 3 list categories that I had set up, which was a yarn list, a fiber list, and a pattern or project, specific project list. Those were the 3 main categories that we were working with in the program. You were free to add other categories if you wanted to, and some people did. Those aren't ones that I'm drawing prizes for, though. I'm only doing 3 prize winners for those main categories, so 1 for each category. However, I was going to do it for those people who finished their whole list. Now, here's the complication. There was no requirement for how many items you had on your list. I said 20 because it was 20 and 20, but it didn't have to be 20. Again, I wanted it to be what you felt best doing, because that was the main key for it. So some people only had like 5 or 6 items on a list. Some people had 30 on a list, you know. And so I started thinking, if I only used the people who finished their lists, but some people had 6 items, some people had 30 items on a list, that there was like an incongruity there. So what I did instead was I went through everybody's lists and I made a spreadsheet for everybody's finished projects that were yarn related. So if you had 10 items finished on your yarn list, you got 10 entries. I put 10 entries in the spreadsheet. If you finished 23 items on a list, you got 23 items. I went by how many items you finished. So that way I felt like the drawing was more fair, because everybody was getting credit for what they did finish based on what their list contained. It just seemed to work easier for me, or worked more fairly. It was not easier. It took a lot of time actually to do it that way. But I felt like it was fair, and everybody was actually getting a chance to be in the drawing for all of the things that they were able to finish in the year. And aside from prizes, I hope you all feel really accomplished for what you did, because there were a lot of great projects that were finished. All together, for the people that were in the spreadsheet. Now, there were other lists that people, and this is again also for people who actually did the final update of their lists and marked it done. I couldn't include you if you didn't do that in these first 15 days of January. So a lot of people have not checked their lists in months and months. Some people just set up their list and then never came back and updated them, which is fine. But the only lists I was able to make use of for the prize drawings were those that people came in, did their final updates, and marked them as done. So I knew that you had actually done that. So out of all those people, there were 205 yarns were finished, 247 projects or patterns were completed, and 70 fibers were spun last year. You know, it was a small group of people doing this, but you got a lot done, and I want you to be proud of yourself. And I hope you enjoy all the projects, either for yourself or for the people you might have given them to. Good job. I'm proud of you. Okay, so we're going to start. Sorry, there's going to be a little crinkling here for a minute. Okay. We are going to start by me showing you what your prize options are. Now, you know, usually I like to have an extra prize available in case you don't like one of the prizes, then you can at least get something that you like. However, I usually pull my prizes from my inventory in the shop. In this case, I'm having a really hard time doing that because my end of year sale pretty much wiped out my inventory. I have very, very little left in the shop. So I'm offering one prize, like a specific prize per prize winner. However, I do have an alternate option for you if you don't like this prize option. So you'll still have a choice. I just can't show you the option. So, all right. The last quarter chatter prize winner for 20 and 20. They were posts number 1,689 through post 2,034, and random number generator chose post number 1,909, who is Iona Paint, and that is Christine. And Christine, you have won this combination of 2 half skeins of ridge top. This is the fingering weight in ember and graphite. So these are coming your way if you like them. If you would prefer not to have these, you can let me know and I will let you choose any 5 minis from my online minis. There's a lot that are out of stock if you want a specific base, but you can just let me know what colors you want and which bases, and I will make sure I can put those together for you. So that's your option. So here's your choice. This or minis, you let me know. But congratulations, Christine, and thank you for participating in the program. Okay, so the last quarter Instagram winner, there were 49 posts with the hashtag 20 and 20 hashtag for the last quarter, and random number generator chose the 24th post, and that was PA Knitwit, who is Sarah. Congratulations, Sarah. You have also won 2 half skeins of ridge top. You're getting graphite as well, but the other one is warm honey. And again, if you don't want this set, let me know and you can choose 5 minis and I will get those to you as well. Or instead of, not as well, but that's your second option as well. So those are those 2 prizes. Now, for the year-long prizes for the lists, the 3 lists, we're going to start with the yarns list. So again, I said there were 14 people who had finished lists that were marked done. Out of those 14 people, you guys completed 205 yarns that you used, that you had on your lists. Hey, Polly. Polly's under here trying to figure out what's going on. So I did a random number generator of 1 through 205 because how I put the spreadsheet together is I did it in the exact same order that your posts were in the threads on the finished, the list threads. So everything's in the same order as it would have been if I was drawing from the thread. It was just in my spreadsheet. So each item that you finished was given a line item in the spreadsheet. So there was 205 line items. Random number generator chose number 189, and that is Christina 4635. So congratulations, Christina. You are winning, since this was a year-long drawing for you, you're getting 3 full skeins of yarn. And again, this is my ridge top fingering weight base. I've got a skein of ember, a skein of warm honey, and a skein of soot, which is a little bit darker of a gray than graphite. But it's these 3 colors. These would work together really well on a color work project. However, if this is not something that you're into, please let me know, and I will dye up 3 full skeins in my bounce base for you if you would rather have that rather than the non-superwash, because this is non-superwash. So you can let me know. Or if you want just 3 different colors of this, that would be fine too. Okay, so congratulations, Christina. All right, from the patterns list, we had 16 people who finished their patterns list or their projects list. Some people did it as projects rather than patterns, but there were 16 that were finished, and there was 247 finished projects, so we had 247 line items. So random number generator chose number 3, and that is Beagle Mom Knitter, who is Angela. So congratulations, Angela. My prize for you is you can choose any giftable patterns on Ravelry, as long as Ravelry is accessible to you. If you have problems with Ravelry, let me know and we'll reconfigure this. Any projects, oh God, words, any patterns up to $20 US. I will gift those to you. So you can choose and you can let me know what patterns you would like, and I will gift them to you through Ravelry, unless you would rather me do it another way. Then just let me know and we'll figure that out. Okay, last one is the fiber/spinning, fiber/spinning lists, and there were only 5 people who finished their lists on there and had marked them as done, but there were 70 fibers spun. You guys did an amazing job spinning, so pat yourselves on the back. So 1 through 70, and random number generator chose number 48, who is Grable, and that is Amanda. So congratulations, Amanda. And the prize I have picked out for you is this rustic fiber sampler set. So there are 5 rustic fibers in here. Rustic wool sampler pack. So Manx Lockton, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, Caracal, Norwegian, Wool Flax Blend, and Welsh. It's a white Welsh. Welsh comes in different colors, but this is white. So if you would like this, these are 2 ounces each. This is your fiber prize. If you're not into rustic wools, though, let me know, and I will come up with a different fiber prize for you. We can figure something out. But that is what I had intended to send. So those are the prizes for 20 and 20. Once again, thank you so much for participating in that program. I'm going to do a separate video to introduce all of the information about the programs that we're going to be doing this year. I think I talked about them a little bit last time. I had them in my show notes anyway. I didn't go back to see what I exactly said. They're going to be 4 shorter programs, all with the theme of nature. And in my show notes, I had that I was calling it the Nature's Calling Challenge. And I don't know if I announced that or not, but I'm changing the name because it totally didn't even cross my brain that when you hear people saying, oh, nature's calling, they're referring to their need to use a bathroom. That is not what I was going for as the theme for the challenge next year. So I'm coming up with another name for it. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's still going to be the 4 2-month-long challenges, each with a nature theme. So you can look for that separate video coming up sometime, hopefully within the next week. And then I'll also have information, you know, on Ravelry and on my blog on the website. So that's coming, but it will not be called Nature's Calling because we don't need that as our idea in our brain. Anyway, yes. And that is going to be, as I said, I do think I said, it's going to be a combination, a general along, and there will be a FiberTrek Dye Works component to it that will be taking the place of monthly makes for this year. Okay, moving along. I have a couple new things to talk to you about, and I have to find the one in the mail. I did get a shipment from the Woolly Thistle this week, and it has my Shetland Wool Week Annual in it. I have to say, I thought I ordered this from the Shetland Wool Week people because I did pay for like one of their sponsorship levels. Even though Shetland Wool Week didn't take place this past year, they were still putting together the annual, and I thought that that included this. It may not have, though, because I think at the beginning they may have been thinking they weren't going to do an annual, and then they decided to do it after the fact. So that may be why I never got one in the mail from them, but I did get it through Corrine at the Woolly Thistle, so it's beautiful, as it always is. The photography in this is just lovely every year, you know, even besides all the patterns and the articles and everything. So I'm excited about that. I mean, they're just, you know, pretty nature pictures and not nature's calling pictures. But yeah. Sea glass. I just love all those sea pictures and the rocks and everything though. So I'm excited about this. Obviously I have not thought of any projects I'm going to start from this yet, but I like to have them. I have several of these, and it's just a really nice collection. I did get another skein of yarn along with that. It was another just solid color of, it was a red of the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, because I do use that yarn a lot for heels and toes when I'm doing their socks, and obviously now for other projects too. It makes a decent warp yarn. I was worried about it being a sticky warp yarn because it is a little bit toothy of a yarn, but it's not sticking, so thankfully I'm not having that problem. The only other thing I bought this week, hang on, that I was going to share with you, and I didn't actually bring them, but you'll know what I'm talking about, is some embroidery hoops, those little wooden inexpensive embroidery hoops, because I talked to you about doing the Lost Words Mal that Sarah from FiberTrek is sponsoring, and she's it's based on the Lost Words books, which I think I've already talked to you about. And so what I decided to do is I'm going to do some punch needle projects. That's what I want to try to do, and I'm going to do them in the small little hoops because I don't have a punch needle frame. I just haven't splurged on that because I keep thinking I could build one, but I don't have the time to build one. So I'm going to just do small projects in these little wooden frames. I did order some more monk's cloth from a seller on Etsy, so I'm waiting for that to come in. And then I'm just going to go through the books and see what motifs I think I might be able to draw out on the monk's cloth in order to do the punch needle and create them. So we'll see, but my hope is to end up with a nice little collection of lost words related images that I've been able to do punch needle for. So stay tuned and see how that turns out in the coming weeks. Okay, we're going to go into shop news now, which is going to be sort of short, although I do have monthly makes winners to announce, so we'll do that too. But I just wanted to mention first off that I did have the club signups for my new Backyard Birdwatchers Yarn and Fiber Club. They opened up at 9 o'clock last Friday morning, and all 25 spots were filled within 12 hours. I was blown away. You guys amazed me. I have not had that kind of response to a club in quite some time, at least not that quickly. I did not expect that. And it was funny because I was doing something, and when I came back to check how many people had signed up, it was over the 25 limit. I think I ended up with like 29 people signed up. So a few extra people squeezed in there, and I didn't want to say, oh no, you have to be on the waiting list. So it's just all 29. The list, I closed the sign up right then. So there are a few extra people in the club this time than I was planning to, but it's fine. I was thrilled to have that kind of a response. So thank you. And if you were trying to get in and hoping you had those whole 2 weeks, I apologize. I just had no way of knowing that it was going to fill up that quickly. But hopefully you can get into another club. I'm hoping to be able to do a second club this year. Since I'm doing this one the first half of the year, this one will be done in June. So hopefully I'll have another one for the fall and winter. That's my plan, fingers crossed. You know how planning works though. If last year was any indication, I don't like to plan too far in advance. So let's just go with this club for right now. Okay, monthly makes winners. I have the December chatter winner, the 4th quarter finished object winner, and the 4th quarter Instagram winner. And I'm going to announce all of those here. I'm not sure if I'll put the Instagram winner online as well, just in case she doesn't see it here. So I'm going to tell you up front, for these prizes are all going to be your choice of 5 minis from my online, like you can go to my website, see what colors are available, and I will get them to you in any of the bases you want, whether they're actually showing as available or not. You just let me know which ones you want, and I will make sure they get dyed up, because I'm working on replenishing them, but I will dye them up for you to make sure that you can have them. So a set of 5 minis for each of you. First one, okay, December chatter winner. The chatter posts were 912 through 1,111. That was kind of cool. And random number generator chose post 1036, and that's Pepper RN, who is Pam. So congratulations, Pam. 4th quarter FO winner. There were 17 posts. First one were mine, so 2 through 17, and it was random number generator chose post number 4, who is Sensei Day, and that is Elisa. So Elisa, congratulations again. Please let me know which 5 minis you would like, and I'll put that set together for you. And lastly, the 4th quarter Instagram winner. There were 29 posts with the hashtag for the monthly makes in the last quarter, and so random number generator chose post number 17, and that is El Mikal, who is Linda. So congratulations, Linda. And if you don't see it here, I will put it on Instagram too, and hopefully Linda will see that. Again, choose 5 minis from what the minis I offer, and I will put the collections together for you. So congratulations. I'm sorry the prizes aren't a little more exciting than that, but again, I didn't anticipate having nothing in stock. And, oh, Tippy, what are you doing? Hi, Tippy is visiting over here. What you doing? Are you causing trouble? because you like to do that. You want to come here and say hi? We'll see what she does. Anyway. Okay, so those are the prizes that I'm doing today. However, I just want to let you know that I will be getting in touch with everybody who has participated in monthly makes throughout the year of 2020, because everybody will be getting something. And just to remind you of what you're getting, everybody will be getting a 1% rebate on their grams. So no matter whatever grams you used in all of your monthly make projects, which I have kept track of, you will be getting 1% of that in a gift certificate that you can use for the shop. I'm rounding up to the next dollar. So let's say you used 573 grams, that would round up to a $6 rebate. So you'll be getting that in the form of a gift certificate for the shop. You will be getting your fourth quarter participation discount, which is a 25% off coupon that you can use one time in the shop. It's good on anything except like dye to order, custom order kind of stuff, gift certificates, and club memberships. And that's good for 3 months. Then those of you who qualified for your second quarter full skein of your choice, I will let you know that in your letter. And if you qualified for the full skein, the exclusive full skein for participating in the whole year and meeting the requirements, I will let you know that in your letter as well. And then I'll just need to hear back from you as to what colorway you want for your second quarter skein, and what or second half skein, and what base you want for your exclusive skein. All of that will be explained in the message I sent you. It'll be sent to you through Ravelry, because that is where everything was being run. So that's where you'll be getting your message. So you can be looking for that in the next couple of days. That takes me a little while to get those all sent out, but I have everything set up. I just need to get the messages out. So maybe by the time this is, well, I don't want to promise that by the time this video is up, that'll all be taken care of, but hopefully it won't be too much long after that. Okay, I think that's everything for monthly makes now. And again, thank you so much to everybody who played along with monthly makes last year. I really appreciate it. I don't want to say I apologize, because I'm not apologizing, but part of me wants to apologize for not running monthly makes again this year. I need a break from it, because it's a lot of record keeping for me, and yeah, I need to take a break from that. So we're going to be doing something different. Like I said, I will be announcing that in a separate video once I get all the details for that put together. But again, that won't be starting until March. Okay, lastly, I just kind of wanted to give you a little state of the studio kind of update here. I'm going to be sending out a newsletter also sharing some of this information. Basically, Sugarplummed pre-orders, or dye to order orders, and punt dye to order orders placed like back at the 16th of December, that update, and then over the new year, the end of year sale. I have pretty much all of those dyed up. I'm getting them ready, waiting for them to dry enough so that I can get them reskeined and shipped out. I anticipate having all of those orders shipped out by the end of this coming week, so by Saturday at the latest, hopefully. So if you have an order that you're waiting to get from those, you should be able to watch the mail for those coming up soon. I have a few other random custom orders that came in through the month of December. I'm working on getting those dyed up. I have a small wholesale order that I need to get dyed up. So those are all coming up in the studio. I'm going to be doing the first shop update that I will be doing coming up after I get all of the dye to order stuff finished. It will be a heavy yarns update, which will be Mega and Twist. Twist is the non-superwash worsted weight, and then Mega is my bulky weight. And I'll be having a self-striping update with those two yarns. I don't know if there will be anything else in that update, but those will be coming. I like to get that out in January, early February, because by then people are starting to think about lighter weight yarns. So I want to get those heavier weight ones out to you while it's still winter. I do have a new collection that I'm designing. I'm very excited about it. It's also going to be nature themed. A lot of things in the shop this year are going to be purposely nature themed. I mean, I'm inspired by nature a lot anyway, but I have this pretty expansive plan that's coming together, which isn't always the case for me, but that's how it's working out this year. I'm really excited about it, so you can watch for that. I also have some new colorways that will be coming out unrelated to that, obviously. I'm hoping to do some Valentine's colorways before Valentine's Day. I know it's getting close here, but I haven't had a lot of time to think about those, but I'm hoping to get some of those dyed up and in the shop soon. I will have a 10th anniversary colorway. I'm actually thinking I'll probably have 2 10th anniversary colorways. I'm not doing a 10 stripe colorway for my 10th anniversary. I know last year, 9th anniversary was a 9 striper. There will not be a 10 stripe colorway. I can promise you that, because I can't get enough of those out to enough people, but I can do 2 5 stripe colorways, and that is my plan for my anniversary colorway this year. So you can be watching for that probably sometime in February, as well as I will have a new Pi Day colorway coming out this year. Also probably, I don't know if I'll wait and release it on Pi Day or I'll release it ahead of Pi Day. Pi Day is March 14th, in case you don't know, 3.14. So, yeah, so those are some things that are coming up and you can look forward to. I know the shop is just, again, it's very empty right now, but I've had these other dyeing commitments that I needed to focus on, and so I'm just sort of taking it slow on adding new things to the shop until I can get those things accomplished. You can watch the newsletter, though, and my social media outlets for more details on things coming as they are ready. And I'm going to finish up now with 10%, also known this week as my favorite things this week. Again, I've kind of managed to keep a slower pace, which is not work-wise so much, but just in general, I'm trying to keep things on an even keel, especially just in the face of all this unrest in our country right now, and I'm just trying to focus on hopeful things. If you watch the Late Night Show with Seth Meyers, he interviewed Andy Kim, who is the House representative from New Jersey, or a House representative from New Jersey, and his interview was so good. You may have seen the picture. It was in a lot of the news and on social media of him the day of the riots, whatever you want to call it, the unrest at the Capitol. He was on his hands and knees with a garbage bag cleaning up, and his interview talking about, Seth was asking him, like, what made you do that? And he was just reflecting on how much he loves the Capitol and how the Rotunda is such a beautiful room, and it was like it's kind of like the heart of our government, the Capitol. And he said it was broken, it was so heartbreaking to see it that way, and he wanted to do something to help clean it up. And his whole interview was just really cool, so I'll link that in the show notes. But that was a really hopeful thing, and yeah. So there was that, and I've gone down a sea shanties rabbit hole. Are you aware of the sea shanties, the trend, this whole viral trend going on with sea shanties? Okay, so on TikTok, yes, it's another TikTok thing. It started there. This one guy did this one sea shanty called the Wellerman, and then it just went viral, and people kept like duetting him and adding to it, and it's gotten to the point where there are so many duets and mashups of this original TikTok. I mean, it's a 1-minute video, but just what people have done with it has been amazing, and it's starting to hit the news, and actually Stephen Colbert was talking about it on his show the other night. He was saying, I called it, 2021 was going to be the year of the sea shanty, which was funny. I will put a link in the show notes to a really cool version. It's a mashed up version. It's a little bit longer. I mean, it's got the 1 minute in it, but then it's got more after that it's only a couple minutes long, not super long, but that talks about the actual sea shanty that is being sung and the history of it and what certain things in it mean. It was really cool. But a couple of the comments, and this is stuff that I've heard a lot of different places, and it's things that I've thought too, but I was looking at some of the comments on the YouTube video of this TikTok phenomenon, and a couple of them really struck me, and I'm going to read them to you. One person commented, Why is it that sea shanties are so popular at the moment? They are about working hard and living in confined spaces with very limited social interactions and are supposed to give hope and strength in the situation that just feels like it's never ending. Oh. And, you know, there are some things that are relevant there, aren't there? We may not be out on a whaling ship, but, you know, there are some similarities to being stuck at home during a pandemic that might make sea shanties just a little bit fun. And then another comment was, this is what I really love about the internet. One dude has a song stuck in his head and 10 people jump on and make it beautiful. And the mashup that I'm going to link is just gorgeous. And I've had this thought. It's like, why can't more things be that way in life? Why can't we add to the collective and make things beautiful and edifying, you know, instead of tearing down and making them disharmonious and ugly? Another thing I've been doing lately, I told you I was going to start reading a lot of J.R. Tolkien this year, and I started the Silmarillion. This is like a big, you know, I've tried before and never gotten through it, but no, you can't do that. And, oh, she's wet. She's been outside in the snow. Anyway, you know, the beginning of the Silmarillion is where Iluvatar, basically the god figure in the Silmarillion, has the Ainur, the, like, I don't want to say heavenly beings because it's not that kind of a thing, but like the big elves, I guess. I'm really new into this, so I could be getting this wrong, but they're singing creation into being, and he's allowing them all to add their parts as they will, and, you know, creating their own additions. And then Melkor, he comes in and he brings in disharmony on purpose because he wants to insert this ugliness for his own benefit. And it's like, it's just such a similarity to like these thoughts that I've had about this whole sea shanty thing, and so many people adding on and making it more beautiful. And it's weird. Do you ever have those times where you just have this same theme cropping up in your life over and over? It might not be in big ways, but, you know, it's meaningful. That's what I'm feeling about this whole sea shanty thing and the crossover in that theme with the beginning of the Silmarillion. So anyway, that may have made no sense to you, and I'm sorry if my excessive nerdiness is now showing. But anyway, that's my week. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you're finding spots of warmth, especially if you're in the cold like I am. There's just white fluffy snow everywhere right now. It's beautiful. I said last time it's been cold but no snow. If it's going to be cold, I'd like some snow. Well, somebody heard me and we've got snow. So yeah, I hope you're staying warm. I hope you're staying peaceful, and I hope you're finding hope in small, maybe seemingly insignificant ways, but, you know, small bits of hope are important in times like these. So until next time, have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.